Welcome back to the channel. This is your boy MadridistaFitz, home of Real Madrid's 11th best YouTube channel. That's not the first, that's not the second, certainly not the third. 1-1, and that is two middle fingers to Barcelona fans. Even though I have some buddies that are Barcelona fans, I wasn't even going to talk about the Queens of Spain, and that is correct. I call Barcelona the Queens of Spain. And they are the Queens of Spain because a true king of Spain, like Real Madrid, would not only win Mickey Mouse trophies like La Liga, but they would couple that with a Champions League victory. That is something that Barcelona never does. 13 years running, I believe, without a Champions League victory. But I wasn't even talking about those bums, but it needs to be spoken of because Barcelona made a madness in the transfer window today. They scooped up a player. This is the first time Barcelona has had one-to-one spending and financial fair play in a long time. And as soon as they got green lighted for this, you know what they did? They went out and spent because this is what Barcelona does. I don't want to make this too much into a financial debate. I can get into this. I'm currently working on a master's degree in finances, so this stuff fascinates me. If you follow my channel, before I get into that, I'll go over that. But Barcelona, they signed a player today for 80 million euros. The deal is 70 million flat from Newcastle for this Anthony Gordon cat. He's a left winger. They say, I've read a little bit about him. I had to do some digging because this guy wasn't on my radar, or certainly probably a lot of Barcelona fans' radars. But this deal is worth 70 million with up to 80 million in incentives. I think it's actually going to be realistically more like 80 million euros for this cat. But this is what Barcelona does. I've had Barcelona buddies of mine say that Barcelona wins the right way. They build from the academy, the La Masia. They do it. They don't spend money. They don't buy championships. I've heard buy championships. Well, that's because you guys have been broke jokes for a while. Everyone knows that Barcelona was tied down by financial fair play because they're absolutely a joke of a financial institute. So FIFA for a while was trying to protect them as an institution, and they limited them to, I believe it was a 1-to-4 ratio for their spending. Now they're back to a 1-to-1 ratio because the Camp Nou has earned them some revenue, and they're becoming a little more financial stable. But if you're not sure what 1-to-1 means, I'm going to read you the definition of it. So it allows the club to invest €1 on player transfer or salaries per €1 of income or revenue that they earn from player sales or from revenue from their new stadium, or how Barcelona makes a lot of their revenue. And it's not the correct way, in my opinion, is by instituting a thing called financial levers. So Barcelona likes to make deals which will generate them short-term revenue, but they'll miss out on a lot of money in the long term. And what this is they sold about 25% of their TV rights to an investment group. They willingly did this. No one held a gun to their head, but they made $600 million in short-term capital. But they are losing out on potentially $2 billion. So that would be like me going up to you on the street and offering you $60. But in the long term, about a year from now, you would have made, let's just say, $2,000. You know, it's a bad deal for them, but they need the money quick. I know that's not the exact math of it, but they need the money quick because they're broke and they're trying to buy players, because this is what Barcelona does. I mean, they don't build through the academy. They buy players just like anyone else. That's what got them in trouble in the first place, buying players like Dembele, Coutinho, Griezmann. And now, as soon as they got greenlit 1-to-1 from financial fair play, what do? In a span of 24 hours, there was rumors about them buying this dude. And what they do is they go out and scoop this guy up like it's no one's business. They go and scoop up this Anthony Gordon cat. And I can tell you, Barcelona fans will not admit this. They will say that this is a great deal. This is a mastermind. This is Deco working in the background. This is Hansi Flick's guy. This guy was not on Barcelona fans' radars. Let's be for real. I have two very good friends that are Barcelona fans. They wanted Julian Alvarez, and I've heard Bastoni as a center back. Now, I would argue that they are in most need of a center back and to bolster their defensive line. That's for sure, because they got run through like a Malia Khalifa special video every time they played a top club in the Champions League. But, of course, they don't spend on center back, and they didn't even go for Julian Alvarez, who I would say is a perfect fit for that team. Maybe they will still go after him. Who knows? But I would argue that you already spent a lot of capital on this player, this Anthony Gordon guy, 80 million euros for this cat. I'll get into him, but of course, I just want to remind y'all, you just got to a okay place, let's say okay place financially, where you got ruled 1-1. This was on the Barcelona website. The main challenge is to staying 1-1. And the thing is, the number one challenge is generate more income than expenses per year. By the way, if you haven't looked at Barcelona's net income statement, this produces your final income. Or my bad, it produces your revenue minus your expenses. And hopefully, in order to stay 1-1, you have to turn a profit. Barcelona was only turned a profit of 5 million euros last year. So you're inheriting a significant and more amount of debt, paying this guy another $70 million. If you buy Julian Alvarez, Atletico Madrid put out already, they want 150 million euros for that cat. I had a buddy saying that they were going to get him for 80 million euros. You're not going to get him for 80 million euros. He's going to be 150. But you guys are already spending big. This is the Barcelona way. When Real Madrid does this, we buy championships. But when Barcelona does this, apparently they're doing it the right way. I don't know. It's very confusing to me. But I think it's a touch of madness from Barcelona. I don't know much about this player, but I put his stats up. He is a left winger. I would argue that, personally, I don't think this is a position that they personally need right off the bat. Do they need a left winger? They have Rafinha. Marcus Rashford, I don't know if he's staying or if he's going back to Manchester United. Who knows with him? He's probably depressed as fuck that you signed this another English dude. I feel bad for Marcus Rashford of all dudes. A dude that gave you guys, I think it was like close to 15-15, or I don't know Marcus Rashford's stats, but he had a pretty good season at Barcelona. And I've talked a lot of shit about Marcus Rashford, but this Anthony Gordon guy, he had a pretty decent season. I'll give him that. He had 6 goals in the Premier League, which is chalk average, but he had 10 goals in the Champions League, which is a very good return. Say what you want, that is a hard competition. I think a lot of his goals were in the group stages because they obviously got their shits kicked in, their ass kicked by the most terrifying team in Europe, Barcelona, who that most terrifying team got, ousted in the quarterfinals, the same as this dog shit Real Madrid team that I follow. But he had a good, stint in the Champions League, and whatever. If this is what Barcelona think they need is another left winger, even though they have Rafinha, who's been called Mr. Champions League himself, which is an absolute madness because the guy hasn't sniffed the Champions League. Calling him Mr. Champions League is like calling me Mr. Millionaire. I've never sniffed $1 million in my life, nor has Rafinha sniffed a Champions League. I'm living in poverty right now. I'm about to upgrade. Look at this shit-ass studio I am in. But it's a madness, once again, with Barcelona fans, and you still have Rashford. So spending $80 million on another winger it is crazy to me. I hope this pans out for y'all. I don't know much about him as a player. Maybe he'll end up being great. He's playing in the World Cup. Maybe he will show out in the World Cup. I don't know if he'll be starting because Marcus Rashford, the guy that you currently had a great season. He's a left winger. He surely probably will start for English. I couldn't imagine this cat starting over him. Maybe he'll ball out in the World Cup. Maybe he will be a very good signing for Barcelona. I don't know, but 80 million euros, that's crazy. How much are you guys planning on spending in this transfer window? I mean, Julian Alvarez has to be not an option. You are not going to spend over 250 million euros on attacking players and not do shit with your defense. That is just nuts. But congratulations, you guys did make your move, and now I'm curious to see how Real Madrid responds to this. Who are we going to sign? And this ties into our presidential elections and all that, but we need to respond. I mean, surely we can get a better player than this cat. I never even really heard of him before. I don't watch too much Premier League, but congratulations, Barcelona. I don't know if this is the dude that you wanted or the dude that you needed, but you got him for 80 million euros. Whew, that's a lot of money. Moving on. Well, I'm done with Barcelona, the Queens of Spain. I hope that pans out for y'all, but yeah, I didn't get to talk about the game. I'm not going to go into it too much, but it was, I will say, I did watch a replay of it because I was traveling over the weekend, but it was a nice ending to what can only be described as a dog shit season. This season has been the vein of my existence. I've had to listen to Barcelona fans bark in my ears. I've had to endure just random texts of bullshit because this Real Madrid team sucks, but they saved their best stuff for last, and I think there's one real big reason why we were successful this game, which I'll get into in a minute. But we won our game against Atletico Bilbao 4-2. Real Madrid victory. It was the last game for a Real Madrid legend, Carvajal. Thank you for everything you've done to this club, and it was the last game for a player that we'll be looking at very fondly. Maybe not a legend. He wasn't here very long, but David Alaba, why he was here, he still delivered us 2 Champions League, which is a madness. But it was nice to see the sending off of both those players. They subbed David Alaba off. They both started and had pretty decent games. And like I said, Real Madrid saved their very best for the last game, which made no sense. Scoring 4 goals, we hardly did that all year, but David Alaba, he had a nice send-off. His family was there. Best wishes to you. You surely will become a Saudi prince. And same with Danny Carvajal. I heard that he's going to keep playing, but it was cool seeing David Alaba with a chair in his hand. If you guys don't follow Real Madrid very closely, in our 2022 Champions League run, which we did end up winning that year, and David Alaba was a very key contributing member, right? Starting center back, or he might have even been playing a little bit of left back at the time. But after we came back against those bums, PSG, in the Champions League, we were down 3-1, and we came back. He held up a chair. It was a madness after the game, and that he kind of became iconic for that image. It would be a cool T-shirt to have. But thank you, sincerely, what you've done for this club, David Alaba. You will be remembered, and you are a true Madridista. We didn't have you for very long, but a very memorable stint. Moving on from that, Danny Carvajal. What can you say about this man? He perhaps is the best player to ever come from Real Madrid's academy. And for all the Barcelona fans that brag about their academy, and that's great, you did have the likes of Iniesta, Xavi, and Messi come through your academy. That's pretty tough to beat. But you will never have a player that has won as many trophies as Danny Carvajal, and I will stand behind that ever. Danny Carvajal played for Real Madrid for 13 odd years, a long time. I don't know exactly how long, but that cat started. He not only played for Real Madrid. Get this through your mind. I'm gonna say this is a guess. I don't know if it's completely true. He was there for La Decima. So 2014 time frame. He was at the Real Madrid for, let's just say, 14 years. In that time, Danny Carvajal not only played, he started in 6 Champions League finals. 6 Champions League finals. And he won 6 Champions League titles in his stint at Real Madrid. That is something no Barcelona player will ever fucking do. Think about that. In the history of Barcelona football, they have only won 5 Champions Leagues in their entire fucking sorry history. And Danny Carvajal, in a 14-year run at right back, won 6 of them. That is an absolute madness. He will be remembered as a true legend of this club. This is something that only happens at Real Madrid. It does not happen at Barcelona. And it is a true madness and a true credit to him as a player. He was a great right back. Now, Barcelona fans will try to discredit him. People will try to discredit him. He may not have had the most memorable moments. His best moment, in my opinion, was the last Champions League we won. He scored the go-ahead goal against Borussia Dortmund, so he even had that in his bag, and he had a wonderful assist his very final game to Gonzalo Garcia, a line-breaking pass, a truly wonderful moment, and a great way for him to go out with a win. On such a dog shit season, it was nice. They did a guard of honor during the game to see him off the field. He went to see his wife and his lovely family. He has a young daughter. Hats off to you, Danny Carvajal. Your behavior towards the end wasn't the greatest as a Real Madrid captain. I will say that. I won't get into the details and make this video spoil it at all, but it was a beautiful send-off on a shit season. And congrats, Danny Carvajal. You deserve to go collect your Saudi money for a year or two. You will certainly make a ton of it, but nothing but the best for you, my man. You're a true legend of this team. Now, I will say I won't talk about the game, but there was really, and I don't know why this isn't being brought up by more Real Madrid fans in commentary of like why we were so good in this game was one reason. Mbappe was playing on the left, and my title on this slide is why the hell is no one talking about Mbooty on the left. It is crazy how much better we play when this guy does not play striker. I think people forget how good Kylian Mbappe can be. I think news just came out that he got voted Real Madrid Player of the Year. Whatever. I don't know if he won the Pichichi Award. He probably did for Real Madrid, the most goals in La Liga. I don't think he won the Golden Boot this year. He certainly was in the running, but this dude is a left winger. He's not a striker. It doesn't make sense that we play him there time in and time out. We're going on our fourth coach. We've had Carlo Ancelotti. We've had Xavi Alonso. We had Arbeloa. Please, whoever the next coach is, and I don't even know who it's going to be at this point with the election madness going on. You all really need to understand that Kylian Mbappe is a left winger. He is not a striker. He did the same stuff that he did in most games that he plays as a striker, positioning wise, as he did in this game playing left wing. Is what he does is he likes to hang out, not on the very left touch line or the center of the field. It's like right on the edge of the 18 box. That is his, I guess you would say, his comfort area, or where the space he runs into. And I would argue he's dynamic running into that space. He looked very comfortable out there, and he scored a great goal. When it comes to beating a player one-on-one and just creating a little bit of space to put a shot on, he's a great finisher. He can finish. And creating that space, he is good at that. He is not the man to beat 5 or 6 players. Not a lot of guys can do that aren't named Messi or the Barcelona princess, Lamine Yamal. I'm going to get mad talking about Lamine Yamal. Congrats, by the way. And I wish you the best at the World Cup, Lamine Yamal. I'll just stop here. I'm going to do a full rant on one of these videos, but we let a 18-year-old with a jerry curl that carries a purse around beat the shit out of us this year in Spain. That's just a madness when we have some of the best players in the world, including a full-grown man, Kylian Mbappe, who really should be playing out on the left every week. He just looks comfortable out there. His passing might not have been better, but he looked like a more willing passer out on the left wing, because whenever he plays striker, he's a greedy bastard in trying to score. But I don't know why people aren't talking about this. You need to play him out on the fucking left or on the right, or get rid of him. If we run him back, I don't care who the coach is. I don't care what players we bring in. I don't care what philosophy of soccer, what formation we switch to. If he is our starting forward and he is playing in the middle of the field, we will be dog shit again. That is facts. That is bottom line. I'm not a genius, but that is just going to happen. Oh, man. A rant over on him. Let's do better next year. Please play him out on the left, whoever the coach is. And that leads me to the elections. The elections are heating up. And other people have been covering this. We were supposed to get an announcement today from this guy that's running against Florentino Perez. His name is Enrique Riquelme. That's a hell of a name, because I just think of Riquelme, the player from back in old days. Barcelona player, I believe he played on Barcelona for a little bit. Great Argentinian player. He was on the national team, I believe, when Messi first starting in calls up. I think that Riquelme, and that comes into my mind. But this is a different cat. Enrique Riquelme. He's a businessman. He pre-qualified in Florentino Perez's stipulations in order to run for the election, which is you had to be Spanish, you had to have a certain amount of money, you had to prove that you could fund Real Madrid basically out of your own pockets and not call upon loans and all that craziness. I won't get into it, but he's running on a unique, I guess, campaign strategy. And the big one, I have all of them listed out here today. He's going to cut membership benefits. He's planning on building something called Madrid City, which is, I'm just going to read it. It's an ambitious expansion of the club's training complex that would include a social club, an aquatic center, a paddleball courts, a hotel for members, and 15,000 seat basketball arena. He also wants to lower membership benefits, I believe, by half, which is crazy, until Real Madrid wins a Champions League again. I think that's a great, would be a bad thing financially. That's for goddamn sure. You're not making as much revenue that year that way. But, I mean, he kind of owes it to the fans, or we owe it to the fans after the last 2 seasons of absolute dog shit. That's for sure. But he also wants to expand the stadium by 20,000 seats. But really, the most compelling argument and why this guy is gaining a lot of momentum is he apparently has an agreement in place with quote unquote two international stars to boost the squad's short and long term competitiveness, and which is against what Jose Mourinho wants to do. Is he doesn't want Jose, or my bad, it's against what Florentino Perez wants to do, which is instill or seat Jose Mourinho as a coach. This guy is not a big Jose fan. He wants a new direction in Real Madrid, and he thinks that Jose Mourinho is just a band-aid, which very well could be, but he would put our crybaby players in place. I say this every video. There's only one bigger crybaby than Real Madrid players, and that is Barcelona fans. They will universally complain and play the victim in anything. I won't get into that, but Jose Mourinho would surely get our players back in line. They would fear the man for sure, but this Riquelme guy is not about it, and he apparently has a manager lined up. All these details on these two players that he is supposedly going to sign and this mystery manager still remain under wraps. I don't know if this is ever going to be revealed, but apparently the manager is coaching at a different club, Jurgen Klopp, I know that's who everyone wants. That was the first choice option and all that, but it's not going to be him because he's not coaching anywhere right now. So I guess this manager that Mr. Riquelme wants is coaching somewhere else, and we would have to do a buyout or whatnot. But really, I don't care who the president is. I really don't. I mean, I don't think this guy's going to win the election. I honestly think a lot of the shit that he's saying is complete cap and bullshit. I guess there was more information that came out today saying that one of the players that he's planning on signing is a Spanish international. You know, that's all great and well, but I have a complaint about the Spanish national team, which I'll go over for a minute. But what Spanish international that it is a major superstar that we want right now, that we could legitimately get? Because we sure as hell aren't getting the Barcelona princess. We're not getting that Jerry curled fuck that carries a purse around everywhere. We're not getting that guy. Barcelona is not going to let him go. That's facts. And we sure as hell, I would actually rather have Pedri than that little Jerry curled fuck on my team. But we're not getting Pedri. Why would Barcelona let Pedri go? And also the rest of the Spanish national team, this is me being completely honest. Besides for those two players, I don't want any of those players on Real Madrid. I think what he's cooking up is Rodri, which certainly Florentino Perez could sign Rodri. I don't know where he's getting off thinking that that's a big deal that he could bring in Rodri. Rodri is like, in my opinion, his knees are cooked. Look at his stats. Stats aren't everything, but he didn't really contribute a lot this year, and he hasn't contributed a lot since his knee injury that he had. Now, would he come in and dog walk into our team? Yes, because he has a good attitude, and he can spray some passes around the field, but he's really only going to be around for a 2 to 3 year period, maybe. I think that guy's itching on 30. He's not quite as old as me. I'm a fucking dinosaur, but he's getting up there in soccer age. But there is no one else on that Spanish national team that I fucking want. And that's just facts. It is basically the Barcelona team. I do not want any of the defensive players that are, which I'll get into in a minute. No Real Madrid, shocker, no Real Madrid Spanish players got a call up to the national team. I sure as hell don't want the Barcelona players that are on the Spanish national team. Because if you look at those guys like Cubarsí and Eric Garcia, they absolutely got fucking cooked. They got beat like a redheaded stepchild whenever they played any team that was any good. My last memory of Cubarsí this season was dragging down an Atletico Madrid player that led to a red card and him getting sent off. Eric Garcia is not much better than fucking Cubarsí. I do not want any of those. If that's who he's trying to go after, I'm a hard pass. I don't want fucking Nico Williams, and I sure as hell don't want any striker, that Spanish striker. I don't want Ferran Torres, and maybe Fermin Lopez. I would take Fermin Lopez. He's quite a good player at Barcelona, but Barcelona is not going to get rid of these cats. The only players that Barcelona might get rid of are their sorry-ass defenders. So I know these elections are heating up, and this is going to be a hot topic. Maybe this guy's just trying to get his name out there for when elections take place again 3 years from now. Who the hell knows? But at the end of the day, I don't know what this guy is really bringing to the table that Florentino Perez cannot, at least player signing wise. He might have guys in his pocket, and I've heard some crazy rumors about this cat that he's certainly getting YouTubers in his pocket. Some of the more popular YouTubers, not myself, I've heard he's paying upwards to like 2,000 to 3,000 euros for them to say nice things about him and shitty things about Florentino Perez. And I'm not going to call out any YouTubers because I respect them. A lot of YouTubers I follow, Real Madrid YouTubers, because they inspired me to kind of try to do this. But I have seen a noticeable shift since this guy ran for the president in their viewpoints on how they view Florentino Perez compared to a few weeks ago. And I can only assume that it is from money, not necessarily what is coming out of this guy's mouth. It's from what's coming out of his pockets rather than his mouth. But whatever. If this guy comes into Real Madrid and cleans it up, great, but I just don't think it's going to happen this time around. But we'll see. The elections are apparently soon. And that brings me to the last topic that I want to talk about, and that is not the elections, but who got brought up for the Spanish team is just shocking to me. I'm not a conspiracy theory type of guy. I really am not. I'm not a Barcelona fan. I won't play the victim card. If you talk to some Barcelona fans, they certainly have a conspiracy theory going that refs are out to fucking screw them, especially in the Champions League, that at every key moment in games, refs hand out red cards that are unjustified and they get screwed out of Champions Leagues. New shocker, the only major scandal with refs has to do with Barcelona, and that's the Negreira case that's still ongoing, by the way. The Spanish courts haven't resolved that. They're still, I believe they're still up for sports corruption charges. They got away with bribery charges. They dismissed that right off the bat, but this investigation into sports corruption is still ongoing by the Spanish courts, in case you Barcelona knuckleheads didn't know about that. But I'm not going to say there's a conspiracy theory. There are people that live in Spain that I hear talk on their YouTube channels. In particularly, one of my favorite guys, the international Madridista. He has a great YouTube channel. Sure as hell is better than mine ever would be, but he talks about that there is a clear agenda to make Barcelona kind of paint them in the best light by the media. And that's the fact that Barcelona, and here's really the fact, is it's a financial thing. Barcelona needs a lot of help financially to stay alive. Real Madrid has been able to stay afloat because of their Champions League success. They've made a lot of money winning Champions League. They've made a lot of money going to Club World Cups. They've made like hundreds of millions of dollars going to Club World Cups. They got their stadium built because they had a savvy financial expert, Florentino Perez, that got the right type of loans, is paying for the stadium in the right type of way. He's in construction. They handle their financial business well. And Barcelona has been down for a long time since the midget Messi left. And their finances have been really bad, and their play on the field has been really bad. So the Spanish media has certainly tried to bolster and put them at a better light, because this is not a newsflash. The Spanish league is predicated on two teams being good. So if Barcelona is down, you are losing a lot of your coverage and exposure to La Liga. That is just facts. It is not good if Barcelona is down for the league, for Spanish La Liga, for Spanish soccer, for La Liga as an institution. So for a while, from what this cat is saying, the international Madridista, is the Spanish media will do everything to paint Barcelona in a positive light. And he even went as far to say is that there has been some selection bias to put Barcelona players in the Spanish team for the selection to the World Cup. Now, I don't believe in conspiracy theories. Maybe the coach thinks these are better players. I have no idea. But some of the selections certainly shocked me. One being fucking Gavi being selected to the World Cup team. Good fucking luck bringing Gavi to the World Cup, Spain. You guys have some incredible players, led by the Barcelona princess himself, but Gavi was hurt all fucking year. Gavi didn't play. Gavi's role as a soccer player, what he is good at, and this is a hell of a statement from me, what Gavi is good at is fouling Jude Bellingham in a game, because that is certainly what he does in El Clasicos. The man doesn't pick out a pass. He's not a scorer. He's a fucking fouler. That is what he does. And I think, and this is my opinion, the biggest misjudgment for their call-ups is if you gave Gavi a spot and you didn't give the young Thiago Pichard a call up, that just blows my mind. Thiago Pichard played a lot of minutes at Real Madrid this year, and he's a good young player. I'm not saying that Thiago Pichard should be a starter in Spain's midfield. I really am not. There are some better players than Thiago Pichard, but Thiago Pichard could certainly come into a game and give a few good minutes in stoppage time. Or if they had an extra time game, they could bring a guy in like Thiago Pichard when these players like Rodri are fucking cooked. Pedri is cooked because he's been running all season. He got run ragged by Barcelona this year. Same with the Barcelona Princess. Instead, if you guys are in an extra time game or an overtime game, you're bringing in the likes of Gavi, who's just going to go in there and fucking foul players. Even Thiago Pichard had a beautiful assist in the last game of the season to Jude Bellingham. It was a in the air chipping loop. It was a loop chip over the back line to a Bellingham that was running on and half volleyed and put it in the back of the net. This cat has some legit game. He is going to be a good Spanish international for a long time. He surely will get called up to the next Euros. I have no doubt about that, and I truly believe this. I stand by this. He may not be a better player than Gavi right now. Actually, I disagree with that. What I just said. I disagree with the shit coming out of my own mouth. The Spanish media is getting to me. I think Thiago Pichard is a way better player than Gavi. He can pick out a pass. He may not bring the defensive prowess as Gavi, but as far as a midfielder that can pick out a pass, he's way better. That's just facts. And then you have these two defenders on Barcelona. You have freaking Eric Garcia and Kubarsi. In my opinion, these two dudes are not better than Dean Huijsen or Zac Efron himself, Alvaro Carreras. That is just facts. If you look at Barcelona's games this year, any time that they played high-level competition in the Champions League, these brothers got fucking cooked. Look at it. I'm not making this up. I've put this up on my channel before. PSG, Chelsea, Atletico Madrid, cooked and fried. Good luck in the World Cup with these two teams, these cats as your defenders on your team. I think they will struggle defensively. They will score some goals, but you have the Barcelona team as your Spanish national team. They suck at defense. I truly believe that will be their downfall. Now, I do not believe that Dean Huijsen or Alvaro Carreras brings a lot defensively either, but Dean Huijsen is very good on the ball. He can pick out a pass from the back lines, and Alvaro Carreras he will put forth a lot of effort. Don't get me wrong, he is complete dog shit, but these two are not any worse than Carbasi. I'm not even pronouncing that right. Whatever the curly-headed fuck's name is, or Eric Garcia. That is just facts. Not calling up any Real Madrid players is diabolical, in my opinion. Even giving old-ass Carvajal a call-up, that certainly would have helped bring some leadership to a very young team. I think people forget that you need, in a World Cup, you need guys that have experience, that are leaders, to right the ship when stuff is going wrong, to give those locker room speeches. And at the end of the day, you just have a bunch of very young cats on that Spanish international team. Good luck. God bless you. I don't think it's going to go well for you, but I sure as hell could be wrong. But that's about it, y'all. That's what I wanted to talk to you today. Good luck with your signing, Mr. Gordon. Best of luck at Barcelona. He's playing at the World Cup. He immediately becomes my least favorite player on the English national team. I hope you suck it up, my dude. Honestly, I really hope. This is a recap of everything. I really hope we play Mbappe next year on the wing. Whoever the fuck the coach is. Real Madrid, make a decision soon on the president, because newsflash, if you hold Mourinho any longer, the amount of money in his release clause is going up and up and up. We a week ago would have had to pay, I believe it was a $3 million release clause. Now we have to pay $50 million for his services. So let's figure that out. Whoever the president is, please sign some players. I don't care who they are. Make this team better. We'll talk about it, whoever they sign. Y'all have a great night. Madristas and you Barcelona bums alike. Love y'all. Take care. This is MadridistaFitz out.